Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the state of Texas in the 2020 presidential election, and this is just because Biden has now kept his lead in the state of Texas for over a week now. Biden took the lead on the 28th of July. He led by 0.8% in the state of Texas because of the morning consult poll that came out that day, showing Biden up 2 points over President Trump. And today a new poll was added showing Biden up 1 point. So Biden is now up 0.2 points against Donald Trump in the state of Texas. Now 0.2% might not be too much, but in the state of Texas, a state that has not voted with the Democratic Party for over 4 decades, is now polling in favor of Joe Biden. I did talk about this 2 times before on the 28th, and then when Biden first started leading in the state of Texas around July 11th, right there when he led by 0.2%. However, now I just want to talk about whether Biden really actually has a chance of carrying the state of Texas. Now, in my old 2 videos, I said that I don't think that Biden would carry the state of Texas. I just thought that was interesting that Biden would have such a blip in the polls showing him leading in such a conservative state. But today I just want to talk about whether or not Biden really actually has a chance, because I think that now Biden really should actually start to focus a little bit on the state of Texas, even if it's not as important to Biden as it is to Trump. Now, Biden really only needs to win the states that Hillary Clinton won. And, there are many pathways for a victory for Joe Biden. He could, use the Rust Belt to win his election, winning the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania back from Donald Trump. Or he could just win the state of Texas. If he wins Texas and Hillary Clinton's 2016 states, he wins the election. He does not need to win any more states. He'll be perfectly at 270 if he wins all of the 2016 Clinton states and Texas with 38 electoral votes. And then what I think is really interesting is that Biden now leads in a state like Texas, but is trailing behind in the states of Ohio and Iowa. And if we look at the state of Ohio, Biden was leading in the state for quite a while. However, now Trump has led in the state for a couple of weeks now, leading by 0.3%. Looking at Iowa, Trump plus 1.3. So these 2 states, Iowa and Ohio, 2 states that Barack Obama carried in 2008 and 2012, are now polling better for Trump than the state of Texas. The last Democrat to win Texas was Jimmy Carter in 1976. So this is really just, very surprising for a Democratic candidate to be ahead in Texas. Now, I just want to take a look at the polling data from 2016. 2016, Trump was up 11.7% at the end in terms of polling from the state of Texas. And looking here, Hillary Clinton never led in a single poll in the state of Texas. She was never even close. The best poll she performed in was +2 in September. She had never had that sort of lead that Biden has now. And this poll was conducted in 2015, not even 2016. But Hillary Clinton never led ever in 2016, nor has any Democratic candidate in over 3 decades. And if you look at 2012, Romney led by 16.7% over Barack Obama in 2012. Barack Obama, the most popular Democrat in the country, lost the state of Texas by almost 16%. And looking at John McCain versus Obama, he led by 13%. McCain lost the election, but he still won the state of Texas by 11.8%. So looking at all the polling data here, Biden is outperforming basically every single Democrat in the last 3 elections by over 9-10%. What's also interesting is that Republicans tend to underperform their polling averages in the state of Texas. If we look here in 2016, Trump underperformed by 2.7%. In the state of Texas in 2012, Mitt Romney underperformed by 0.9%. And then in 2012, McCain underperformed by 1.2%. So basically, if we were to look at the polling averages here, if the election was held today, if Donald Trump underperforms his polling average by any percentage point, he would lose the state of Texas. Biden would win, because he's already leading in the polls. Trump cannot underperform his polling averages in the state of Texas. He really needs to put a lot of time in Texas, because if Trump loses Texas, he loses the election. There is no way that Trump will win the election without winning Texas. No Republican has won the election since 1980 without the state of Texas. And then looking for, for Joe Biden, this state, really, he could win it, he could not win it, he is still probably going to win. But if we were to win it, it would just make his electoral path so much easier. The election would be called for him so much earlier on election night. It really would not even be a close election. He would probably win over 410 electoral votes if he won the state of Texas. And then here on 270 to win, as you can see here, this is basically the voting history in the state of Texas. So I think this is just kind of interesting to look at. If we were to look at all of the elections, prior elections, looking at this graph here, no Democrat has carried the state of Texas since 1976. Carter was the last Democrat to carry this state. Ronald Reagan flipped it in 1980, flipping it for the Republicans, who have carried the state ever since. And looking at, just a general trend here, the Republicans are performing worse and worse in the state of Texas, as Texas is moving more and more to the left once again, but, it's just a downward trend for the Republicans in the state of Texas. And then looking at Wikipedia here, basically this just shows all of the polling averages, the results from all the elections in the state of Texas. And what I think is interesting is that Donald Trump had the worst performance in Texas of any Republican candidate that won the election. So basically all of the Republican candidates that won are all of the candidates that are bolded. So we're just going to look at 1980 and after, so looking at all of the numbers up here. As you can see here, Ronald Reagan won the state by 55%, then 63%, then George H.W. Bush won it by 55%. And we're going to skip Bush's second attempt and Bob Dole, just because they lost the election. And looking at the next two Republican winners, George W. Bush won it by 59%, 61%. Donald Trump won the election. He is the newest Republican president. He won the state of Texas by 52%. So out of all of the Republican presidents who have won the election since 1980, Donald Trump performed the worst in Texas, in decades of, Republican winners. And then looking at, just the betting odds for this election, I think this is very interesting as well. Biden he has a 35% chance of carrying the state, while Trump has a 65%. Looking at this 90-day graph here, it's gone down for Trump, however not as significantly as you might expect. He still has, a 2/3 chance, with Biden with, little over a third of a chance of carrying the state of Texas. But I think this is really interesting. If we compare this to the 2016 graph between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, looking here, Donald Trump had, basically at this point in early August, he had an 86% chance of carrying the state of Texas. Hillary Clinton had a 14% chance. So Biden basically has more than double the chance of Hillary Clinton from 2016 of carrying the state of Texas. Of course, it went down to, 1 on election night because she lost the state. However, before that, Hillary Clinton, she never even went past 23%. 24%. Her peak was 23%. And, Biden is already at, 35 cents per share. So basically, if you don't know how betting odds work, basically if you want to bet on Joe Biden winning the state right now, you would buy yes, you would pay 35 cents, and then for every 35 cents you pay, if Biden wins the election, you would get $1. But if you lost the election, you would lose your 35 cents, every 35 cents that you bet. So basically, this is a very good indication of how voters think the election is going to go, because you probably normal people don't just bet their money on candidates who they think will lose, which is why this is a pretty good indication of what people think is going to occur in Texas. They most people do still think that Trump is going to win. However, many more people think that Joe Biden is going to win than Hillary Clinton from 2016. And so I just think that this is all very interesting. And then, looking at, the 2016 averages, he outperforms basically every single Democrat in decades in the state of Texas. And I don't think it's because Joe Biden is, a uniquely great candidate. I do think that he is a much better candidate than, John Kerry or Hillary Clinton from 2004 or, 2016. But I don't think that he's as good as a candidate as Obama was, because Obama was, a one-in-a-lifetime candidate. He was, pretty new to politics, and he just rose up very quickly in 2008, and, he became the president with basically a president landslide victory for Obama. But Biden is not Obama. He has been in politics for 4 to 5 decades. But I do think that he is, for 2020, I think he is a good candidate. Which is why Biden is performing very well in many states. His polling averages is better than basically most candidates in the past few decades. So I think that this is again looking very good for the Biden campaign. I do not think that Texas is his state to lose, like Beto O'Rourke said. He said that Biden, the state of Texas is Biden's state to lose, but no, I do not think that is the case. It is definitely Trump's state to lose. He carried the state by over 8%, 9% in 2016. It's definitely Trump's state to lose, and currently he is losing. Based on polling data, he is losing in this state. The only reason why people think that Trump is still going to carry this state is because of, former election results. So, based on the data we have, Biden is going to win Texas, but, I think that basically it's around a 40-60 chance, with Biden having a 40% chance and Trump having a 60% chance of carrying the state of Texas. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, as well as considering subscribing to my channel. I was originally going to be doing my Senate election night today. However, I could not finish that in time, which is why I'm talking about this today. But I will try my best to get that out by tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after that. So expect to see another election night from my channel, and subscribe to my channel to make sure you don't miss it. And I will see you in the next video.